Three, two, one. That worked great. Three, two, one. This is going to be a pain in the butt already. Welcome back to Zach's Tool Shop. This week I get back to something I really love, which is impact drivers. And this is the brand new Hyper Tough Brushless 20 volt impact driver. And this is one of the impact drivers I'll be testing this week. This is the main one because we're curious what it can do. But I also found one at Lowe's I'm very curious about. So let's take a closer look at some of the impacts we're going to check out this week. So here's our guy, the Hyper Tough 20 volt. There's so many new Hyper Tough tools at Walmart, and it's a weird thing to be excited about. I don't know why I'm excited, because I think these are going to be diamonds in the rough or something special. But they have this brushless impact driver. Impact driver is one of my favorite tools because it's one of the ones I used just all the time, ever since I first learned about them like 20 years ago. And I had a Chicago impact driver from Harbor Freight that was 14.4 volts, which was awesome. I've loved these things. Now, I can tell you some of the features. The light's going to be awful. I can tell you that right off the bat. But I don't know how powerful it is. I know that it's going to be in the 3000s RPM. That's a nice bump up. But I don't know yet. But that's beside the point, because there's more than just this impact driver to look at this time. What about this saucy guy? Just kidding. This thing is the equivalent of a truck that has all different color fenders. And this is just my old Ryobi, not the first one I've ever owned. I had the ones that were blue, purple, whatever color they were before. And they've always treated me real well. This old piece of crap has the tri-beam lights and the collet, which you can just slide the bits right into. You don't have to do like this every time. You slide bits into it. This is better than some of the modern ones they have. But I might throw this one in there just so we can get our new foot-pounds ranking, because I'm doing foot-pounds now. I made the transition, I've done some math, and I think we're going to have a good time. But this little saucy guy, this Skil brushless 12 volt, I had the first version of this. This is the latest version. I know it's going to be very powerful comparatively for 12 volt. I am curious whether or not it'll be more powerful than the Hyper Tough 20 volt, but we'll find out. This is part of their Power Core 12 line. The RPM on the first one was a little bit low. We'll see what it is on this one. I haven't even looked on the tag. Let me look on the tag real quick. It says 2900. That's still below 3000, but it has the awesome ring light on the front. And look at this battery. This is their new USB-C battery. There's a USB-C on the side. Hey man, that's awesome. That's just the best light you can get with one of these impact drivers, in my opinion. The tri-beam's good, but this one's better. And this is the charger that comes with that one. A 20-watt wall block and cord. Of course, you can still plug these into the standard chargers too. You just have the option of using that wall block as well. I'm sure that this charger is more powerful than the wall block. I'm not positive, but I assume it is. And away we go. I have this apparatus right here. We're going to measure the RPM of each device. Basically, every time this thing rotates, this sensor picks it up, and we get a reading over here. I have the Skil brushless. I'm going to start on speed 1. We'll go through all 3 speeds and move on to maybe the oldest impact driver in existence. Speed 1. Speed 2. And speed 3. It said 2900, but I don't think we're getting up to 2900 today. Just so you guys know, I'm using the batteries that come with the kits to analyze these tools. Next up, I have one of the finest impact drivers in the world, the Ryobi P236. One and only speed. But remember, the best part is really this. You can't put a price on that. And I'm using the 1.5 amp hour for the Ryobi. Now we have the Hyper Tough, and I'm just going to say, not as good as the P236 at everything. We're using the 2 amp hour battery that came in the kit. All batteries are fully charged before I test any of these. We got above 3,000 with that one, so the one and only. The old P236 is 2.62 pounds or 1,186 grams. The Skil 12 volt is 1.97 pounds or 895 grams. The Hyper Tough Brushless is 2.15 pounds or 975 grams. Just for reference, the 2 amp hour Hyper Tough battery is 391 grams. The Ryobi 1.5 amp hour battery is 422 grams. And the Skil 12 volt battery, 2 amp hour, is 264 grams, making the Skil significantly lighter than the other two. A total of 1,159 grams, or 2.56 pounds. The Skil is 4 7/8 inches long. The Hyper Tough is 5.5 inches long. And the Ryobi is 2 miles long. Just kidding. Just joking with you. It's an old brush tool. What do you expect? The Ryobi is 6 11/16 long. But we don't have to do any reliability testing on the Ryobi since it's been around for a long time. It's passed the test. Looking at tool RPM, the Hyper Tough Brushless is in first place at 3,024. The Skil 12 volt is in second place at 2625, and the Ryobi is right behind the Skil at 2545. When it comes to the weight of the tools, the Ryobi has the most honky-tonk pedonky-donk at 1,186 grams, followed by the Hyper Tough Brushless at 975 grams, and the Skil 12 volt is the lightweight here at 895 grams. One advantage of having brushless tools is that brushless motors save a little bit of room on the length of a tool. And that is the case with the Skil 12 volt coming in at only 4.9 inches, very compact. The Hyper Tough Brushless comes in at 5.5, and the Ryobi trails behind. It is a brush tool, it's understandable, at 6.7 inches. We might as well start out with the oldest bird that we have right here. We're going to do 3 runs with each impact driver. I'm going to use my old bird first, the P236. We'll go ahead and see where it sits on our ranking chart for yard sale bargains. And here we go. We're using a 1.5 amp hour battery, by the way, because that's what would have been on this sucker back in the day. Here's our third and final run with the Ryobi, the future champion, if I had to guess. I'm really excited about these Skil products. I really like them. This is the 2 amp hour battery, the newest battery. Have it on the highest speed. And here's our 10-second run. This is going to be our second run with the Skil. Skil's only 12 volt here, just remember that. This is going to be our third and final run with the Skil. Looks like, I think that's the best run yet. We lost 1 bar during that test. This is going to be our first run with the Hyper Tough. I have been using the Hyper Tough in the shop, and I've noticed that it just doesn't go immediately into impacting. A lot of weak impact drivers, the first time you put any bit of stress on them with an activity that requires just the slightest bit of torque, they start impacting, and it's a bad sign. But this one, it's a good sign because it's not impacting just from having the socket on there. This socket's pretty heavy, so some of the impact drivers, you hear them impacting as soon as you put the socket on and hit the trigger. We'll see if that translates into a good run. First run with the Hyper Tough. Well, that seemed pretty good. 2200. All right, let's try that again because that seemed very high. This is the Hyper Tough, its second run. All right, 2200 again. I feel like this bit might be about to die. All right, we're gonna do one final run with the Hyper Tough. It's done pretty good so far. Been pretty surprised by it. We'll see if the last run is the best run or not. It is 2250. Good night. That's pretty daggone good. Let me try something here. We also lost 1 bar of battery, 2 amp hour battery. Okay, just for craps and giggles, I have the Hercules brushless here, which is a very powerful impact driver. I'm gonna set it up into 3rd speed, and it has the most basic battery. So this is the worst battery for it, but I'm assuming the Hyper Tough has the worst battery for it too in the 2 amp hour. Not sure about that. We can test that a little bit further. I'd like to see how much torque this sucker builds up in 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Well, it's just about the same. 2250. Huh. That's pretty interesting right there. Now I put all 3 impact drivers on screen, and you can see the Hyper Tough brushless is in a different level here than the other 2, but the Skil is actually edging out the Ryobi, which I think is really impressive. In the next test, I have a gauntlet of screws and lag bolts ranging from little to medium to larger to super honking large. And we're going to see if these impact drivers can complete this with their attached battery and how quickly can they complete this activity. I'm going to break this competition up into 3 pieces. First, we have our small fasteners. Then we have our medium lag screws. And last, we have our very big lag screws. I don't think all of them are going to be able to complete this with their battery. That's just my guess. First up, we have our Ryobi. I'm going to see how it does with these small fasteners. That's probably where it's going to shine. And by shine, I mean actually complete the test. There are 16 of these small fasteners. 1, 2. After phase 1, we have 3 out of 4 on the battery. Now we're going to start with phase 2. We have 3 smaller lag screws, 2 larger ones, and then we'll get 3 even larger ones over here. 3, 2. That's the end of phase 2. We are down to 2 bars on our battery. It's gonna be tough. Here's our final 4 lag screws. 2 kind of tall and 2 tall order indeed. 3, 2, 1. Well, I don't want it to smoke up too bad. It's not smoking just yet. We're down to 1 bar, and this ain't gonna happen, I don't think. Next up is our Skil Brushless model. It is a very powerful 12-volt impact driver, right up there with the M12 fuel. So we're going to see how well it does with this 2 amp hour battery that's fully charged, USB-C 2. Let's see what happens. Just look and see what this does. It does it too. It's not hard, evidently. Everybody's doing it. Even the cheap ones are doing it. 3, 2, 1. After phase 1, we still have a fully charged battery as far as our lights. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Well, we made it through phase 2. We have 2 out of 4 on the battery. I don't know. We lost a lot right there. Let's see if we can tackle phase 3. Maybe not the whole phase. Let's beat the Ryobi. That's going to be our goal. Let's beat the Ryobi. Let's see if we can sink at least one of these lag bolts. That would be good. The Skil is an overachiever for 49 bucks on sale. She's the boss. Let's see how the boss fares here. Maybe not very boss-like. We're going to see. 3, 2, 1. We sunk 1 so far. We still got 2 bars. We still got 2 bars. Here we go. We've sunk 2 of them. We still technically have 2 bars. David and Goliath here, guys. David and Goliath. Grab your slingshot Skil. Let's do this. Well, we're not making much progress any longer. It is almost like it's skipping inside of the actual impact driver, and then it'll catch and drive it and then stop. I'm not sure what's going on inside of here. Maybe you guys know better than I do. But it just feels like where it's trying to hammer, it's just missing, and then it's catching every now and then. Not sure if that's what's happening. We have 2 bars still, but this is about as far as she goes right here. And about 5 1/4 exposed, just in case we have to measure. I don't think that's very bad from this thing. I think this is a good impact driver. And now we have the $44 super drill. Don't call it a drill. People on the internet get mad at that. Impact driver. I realize that. Sometimes people that use a lot of tools will say drill, and it's an impact driver. And it's okay, guys. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Put it in the comments if you disagree psychologically. So I'm going to go ahead and test this bad boy, which should beat all these other ones, it looks like. I don't know. Let's find out. Phase 1 on the way. 3, 2, 1. So our Hyper Tough did a good job on phase 1. And just a little bit of a chore making sure that the bit doesn't cam out while I'm trying to start these screws, because I'm trying to do them as fast as possible. And typically when I put a lot of these screws in, it might actually start it slow and then kind of wait till that thing bites a little bit and then drive them in. But in this case, I'm trying to drive them in as fast as possible so we can see the difference. So it's a little bit of a chore. A couple of them went pow, and I had to go get them. Moving on to phase 2, we have all of our medium-sized stuff here. 3, 2, 1. handle those with no problem. We have 2 out of 4 on our battery. So here I have just 3 fasteners because I don't think we're going to get to the other long one. I just have a hunch in my heart. So we're going to see how we do in phase 3, or as I like to call, Omega phase. 3, 2, 1. See, bouncing around right there. Still got 2 bars though. All right, let's see if she can complete the final Omega screw. 3, 2, 1. Oh, we started blinking. We're blinking here. We're blinking. Let's see if that's an overload. All right, it won't restart. Take the battery out. All right, let's see if we go into overload again. Yep, it went into overload again, so we're going to call it right there, which is not a bad thing because you should be using an impact wrench for this. Still 2 bars on the battery, and we made it a little bit farther than the Skil, but the Skil did pretty good. So we're about 3.5 inches. So it beat the Skil, but I mean, honestly, the Skil's pretty good too. So, but for Walmart, this is fabulous. Looking at our final scores, we have the Ryobi P236, which I added to this chart for no apparent reason. I don't know why I did that. And like, you can go back in time and buy one, unless you can. In that case, let me know how you did that. Skil ID 6744A is the 12-volt model, and the HyperTough 22006.2 is the HyperTough model. They've gone back to IP addresses, I guess. So at the weight, the heaviest is the Ryobi at 1186. It's a brushed motor. $8.95 for the Skil, very lightweight. I just love the Skil. I just got to tell you guys, I love that Skil. And HyperTough comes in at $9.75, so it's pretty light too for a 20-volt product. Moving over to the length. Of course, length is not good in this particular case, and the Ryobi is the longest at 6.7, much longer than the HyperTough at 5.5, and longer than the Skil at 4.9. And you can see there, we give points for every single score. We'll tally those up at the end, and I'll show you the final scores. When it comes to max torque, the Ryobi got 128 foot-pounds, the Skil had 135, and the HyperTough had 200, which blows my mind. Just soak it up for a second. RPM, 2545 for the Ryobi. It's the lowest. The Skil came in second at 2625, and the HyperTough had 3024, which was higher, but not high as some of the other brands out there on the market, which we'll test in the future. Torque per inch. I thought I would break it down. A lot of these ideas I see from a channel that I love called the Torque Test Channel that does a lot of stuff like this. So I took some of their ways in which they look at these tools, and I used them for myself and adapted them for what I think they should be. And a lot of my ideas come from some of their ideas, so I want to thank them first and foremost. And if you guys don't watch them, you definitely need to, because they are awesome. Torque per inch, 19.1 for the Ryobi, is pretty low. 27.6 for the Skil is really good, and 35.4 for the HyperTough because it's so much power and a relatively small, for that particular group of impact driver, length. And then we come over to the price. I gave the Ryobi a price of $50 because you have to buy a battery and charger for it, and that's about the cheapest you can find one if you look real hard. It's kind of assigned that price. The Skil cost regular $70. Of course, I got it on sale for $49. We're close to Black Friday. It's actually $39 right now. It's awesome. And then the HyperTough is $45. Comes with the battery and charger, but the HyperTough charger in this case is the bad charger, so you probably want to spend a little bit more money if you really want to use that on a regular basis. Now let's look at that final score. Looking at the final score, that puts HyperTough at the top. We could probably guess that at 340.83 and some change. The Skil is in second place at 265 and some change. And then the Ryobi comes in last, which we all expected, at 215. Really great showing from the Skil and the HyperTough. Keeping in mind the Skil's a 12-volt tool. I encourage you guys to give them a look if you need a lightweight tool that's not as expensive as the M12 brand. Skil's a great option. I think I've been using them a lot. I've only had one tool fail, and it was the drill, and I got to turn it into a spotlight, believe it or not, which maybe we'll see one day. But the Hyper Tough is also an excellent buy. So much power for $45. That is crazy. So I'm wondering how long it'll last. We'll see how long it lasts. I don't know right now. Keep your fingers crossed, and I hope God blesses all of you over the next week, and I will see you on the next one.